Hi and welcome to a new video. In this video I wanted to go through the ASUS WRT Merlin third-party custom firmware for our ASUS routers. So this covers quite a few different routers out there that you can actually install this software on. So this is actually a fork of the original ASUS firmware that actually comes installed as default on your routers. So what's really good about that is it means that if you do install this third-party firmware on your router and your router is supported, it's on this list as we'll go through later, then you don't have to go along and change all your settings again and update them. And then if you decide to go back to the original firmware, you don't have to then go back and set up the router again. Everything is transfers straight across, and it makes life so much easier for an enthusiast or even an advanced user that wants to change even an older router that you might have that's on the list and is supported. Then you can turn here and you can add extra features and just change the actual user interface as well, the GUI. I know some people don't like the Republic of Gaming interface that's on our gaming ASUS routers like the GTA X11000 and others, and this one will set it back to the default, as you can see here, like the grey layout that we can see, and we'll go through and view later on in the video. So first of all, as I said, this is their main website. I'll put it in the description, and this is a project that's been ongoing for several years now, and the hard work that goes into it, and it is free. So if I like to, first of all, I know times are hard right now, but if you do even have a spare few pounds, few dollars, or whatever your currency is, I'm sure he'll appreciate if you just donate some money to him, because I mean he puts a lot of time and effort into this, and you're getting it for free. So I think normally you'd pay for this kind of thing. You normally pay some extra, but yeah, just to appreciate, I think his time and everything else and effort that goes into this, making this actual firmware really good, and makes it much better for us as well. And with the features for enthusiasts and more advanced users. So first of all, let's go through the supported for this routers. So as you can see here, in the current release from the 13th of August, you can see here there is some routers that now are not supported. So that's the N66U, the AC66U, AC56U, and the AC87U, and finally the AC3200. As you can see here, these are no longer supported, but you can install the older version of this software firmware that's still available. But you just be aware that you won't get any further updates unless, as we come into later, there is some other people that are still supporting this long-term support for some of the older firmware, so you can actually go to their website as well. But as you can see here on the list, you can see here the actual supported routers, and you can see here it's really good as well. We've got support for some of the newer routers that are coming out, and including the Zen Wi-Fi mesh network, and then we have the GTA XE16000, so that's like the brand new one, top of the range. Then we also have our AX11000 Pro, and then the router that's my go-to is the GTX 11000. That's still supported, because that one is still, in my terms of using different routers and everything from ASUS, is still one of the best out there for distance, speed, and everything else for connecting multiple devices. Like nowadays we've got multiple devices in our house, and I think I've got like 40 plus, and it handles it no problems. It's never really had any issues. The CPU's never gone over, or the memory and things like that. It's never had any issues as well. And again, as we said, this firmware adds some different user interface, but also some extra software features that you can actually incorporate into your router. So if we just scroll down here, you can see some of the overview of the features here. So as it says that it's a familiar interface, so it still uses the stock original firmware interface. As we said, it doesn't use the Republic of Gaming interface, so I think I've seen on Twitter and things like that, some people really don't like it. So this sticks to the user interface that'll make them happy if you don't like it. Again, it's easy to install. It's literally just like the original firmware, so you can just go into the original menu within the settings that we'll do later, and you can just upload the firmware as you would normally from the Asus website, and it keeps your existing settings as well. So that's really good. We've got some advanced customizations, so things like you've got the DNS and Samba, and you've got all other plugins that you can actually install as well. That's really good. Again, there's dozens of applications, so through Entware software repository, you can go through and you can download the little bits of software to actually add enhancements to your router. That's really good. Again, you've got your enhanced network, so you can install ad blockers, and you could also force devices to use filtering of the DNS, so it's nice for extra security. And again, like it says here, it uses the original features, so it keeps them all. So you've got your AI mesh, your quality of service, all of those advanced features that come standard with Asus are still there, and it's really good to see. So if we just click on here to get some more details, you can see here where we've got the different here. So again, this firmware is not going to give you, is not aiming to give you big new features and things like that. It's going to enhance the features that we've got and keep it updated, and keep it for like the enthusiast or advanced users, so you can keep your router doing as much as you can. As you can see here, it does cover a lot. So we've got like the third-party add-ons and the third-party software that we've got through Entware, as we said. You've got user scripts, cron jobs, so they like scheduled tasks that you can run at certain times on certain things. And you've got optimizations as well for the OpenVPN that probably a lot of people use. Again, so it's very good. And of course, you've got the usual disk sharing and networking. As you can see here, it just adds an extra thing that's already built into the Asus router, and add just a lot more. And as you can go through, I won't go into much detail on each one because we'll be here forever because it covers so much, but you can go onto the website and have a look for yourself in the major detail. And again, the web interface, it's got some performance updates. And again, he's using the USB that you can plug into the back, as we've got 2 ports in the GTX 11000. Most of the Asus routers have a USB. You can plug that in and store all your logs, scripts, and the extra software on there as well. So that's really good to do. And again, you've got basically the reports for the Wi-Fi. And as you can see here, the features go on and on. So this is really advanced things that he's added on here. That are some of the standard features that are already built into the standard firmware, but he just adds that extra customization on there. So as I said before, if you can afford it, then even a few pounds or a few whatever's in your currency, I'm sure he'll appreciate getting the donation from it. There is some screenshots here we can quickly go through. So as you can see here, the layout and the different advanced features that you've got here. So this is through the web interface. So we can just click on here, and you can then go on and have a look at these ones here to see the different options. So first of all, so let's get started. That's a quick overview of the Asus WRT Merlin. So now we'll move on to actually downloading. So as you're on the website, you first of all want to go to the download section up here, and then click on download. You will see if you want to, you have the latest hash signatures. So if you are very security conscious and you want to compare them to make sure the file hasn't been changed or anything, you can do that if you need to and you understand what that is. Most people won't, to be honest. You do have some pre-beta test builds, so if you are up for doing some testing, then occasionally there's some beta testing builds there. Again, if this is your main router, I'd probably say, if you've got a spare router and you want to install it on, then do so and help out with the test. But if not, then if it's your main router, I'd say stick to the main stable releases, because you don't want any issues or anything with disconnects and bugs and things like that. So clicking on the main download site, or there's the mirror if it's not working, will take you to SourceForge. So again here then now it will give you a list of all the different routers as we saw in the first screen that are supported, and it'll give you the README information about it here. So as I'm going looking for the GT-AX 11000, so I can see here, so I just click on that folder. You will then see that you've got beta, as we said, the tester version and release. You do have the latest version you can select here, so I just prefer to go to the release folder, and then you can then see the different versions going down here. So we want to go for the newest one, so just select the newest date here, or the highest numbers you can see here, and you just click that and it will start the download. You just got to give it a few seconds, and I found the website downloads quite fast as well, and it will just pop up and it will just save the actual screen for you, and it will download to whatever folder you want it. So once it's downloaded, next is what we have to do is log into the ASUS router into the web GUI. So you can't do this using the ASUS app on your phone. You'll need to go to your browser, so if that's Safari, Edge or Chrome, and then you just type in, if you've still got the standard ASUS IP address, you just type in the 192.168.50.1 and then you log into your router. Okay, so we'll move on to that next. So now we've logged into the router using the web browser. So as you can see here, this particular ASUS router is my GTX 11000. So this does have the Republic of Gamers interface, so this is not the grey standard ASUS interface. This does have more gaming features and things like that, acceleration that you'll have here. So if you are more game focused, then I do believe that the Merlin software currently doesn't support the gaming acceleration features, but we'll come on to that and then review after we've updated. So next we'll just go to the when we first log in, you go to the dashboard, then you will need to go to administration menu under advanced settings. So if you go to administration, and then you can see that you've got the firmware upgrade tab, so you just click that. Then you'll come to your standard upgrade software, so where you can check for the latest firmware. So what we want to do, because we've downloaded the file to, particularly on my one, we've downloaded it to the downloads folder. So we just want to do a manual firmware update. And as we said, that all our settings that we've got set up now for your Wi-Fi, for the login password, your Wi-Fi name, your Wi-Fi password, they're all going to stay. So nothing's going to change. I would advise that before you do anything to do with the firmware, is the first thing perhaps you do is just go to your Restore, Save and Upload tab and just go to Save Your Settings. So this is just in case of any issues, you've got a backup, and this is best practice to do anyway after you've made any changes, is always to actually go there and save the settings onto your computer, and then perhaps share it onto your OneDrive or Google Drive, so you've always got a copy. So if you do have to factory reset it or anything issues, you can quickly just restore all your settings, and you don't have to go through the palaver and trouble of inputting everything again. So if we go back to the firmware upgrade tab, then we can see here we've got the manual firmware update. So now we just click the upload button here. This will take us to our downloads folder. So you can see here, and then we select the file we want. So I'm just selecting the file now. So this file will end in .w. So in this particular one is will have your router's name. So just double check you've downloaded the right firmware for your right router. So double check again. It's always most important, because you can brick your router if you start uploading the wrong firmware for the wrong router. So always double check. So don't go rushing into this. So just double check. So I'm checking the name. It's GT-AX 11000. Yep. Okay. And this current as a filming is 386.7_2. So that's the latest version. So then I just click on that file and open. So now you'll see, once I've done that, it will ask you to please wait and it'll apply settings. So now we'll just wait for those settings to upload, as you can see here. So it's going through the standard firmware upgrade process as if you had downloaded the firmware from the ASUS website. So now it's actually going through this process, and we'll come back once that's completed. So now, as you can see, the firmware upgrade has completed. You will restart your router, and what it will do is disconnect from the Wi-Fi, and then it will reconnect. If it doesn't reconnect, just go to your settings for whatever device you're using, and search for that your Wi-Fi network, and just manually connect back to it. You'll see now that it's gone back to the standard. You'll see here the standard ASUS sign-in screen, so it won't be the Republic of Gaming anymore. So you can see here I just enter my details that I need to log into the router. So I just enter the same ones I had before. As we said, nothing changes on that. So we click on sign in, and now you can see here that we've now signed in. So you can now see the user interface has actually updated. So now we don't have the on here, we don't have the basically the Republic of Gaming interface that people some people don't like. So we've got the standard Asus Grey, and you can see here now we've got the making sure we've got powered by the Asus WRT Merlin third-party software. So that's good. If you do have any issues when you reload it and it's not displaying certain parts properly, or something's not showing, then what I would advise is that perhaps you need to just refresh the cache on your browser. So basically you can either force it to reload from the from the router. So all you do is normally is you can hold the control key on the Windows one and hit refresh on Chrome or Edge, and it will just refresh the browser and take it again, not from the actual locally stored files. It will take it again from the new one. So this will refresh the whole page and download this new interface. So as you can see here, it's as we said before, the interface and everything else is the standard on here. All the features and everything else is going to be very familiar. So it's even for enthusiasts, you don't have to worry too much about all the different options. Where to go to, it's totally different. You still have got your AI mesh. So as you can see here, you've got your guest network, you've got your AI protection, so you've still got all of that where you can switch it on. Then you have your parental controls, your quality of service, as we said before, your traffic analyzer, so analyze the traffic on your network. You still have the game features here, so you still have your OpenNAT and then the WT Fast as well. So that will probably change depending on your router. Then you've got your OpenNAT, so you still have all of the features that you had before. So that's good to see. Even the gaming features, if your router had that before, are included. And you've seen there you've got your different AI cloud from Asus. So that's their kind of cloud disk storage. You've got your tools, so you can see more information around your actual uptime and everything else. And now you can see like the CPU frequency, the load, and the memory and cache and everything else. And you can see here now you've got internal memory, and then you've got hardware acceleration. So it gives you a little bit more information now. So this is where it gets a bit more detailed, is where you can see, and you can click on other settings. This is where you can really refine all the different options you're going. So as we said here, wireless, so it gives you all the options again that you're familiar with, your LAN, your WAN. So it's not going to confuse you too much, on where to go to if you do update and anything like that. And then you've got VPN. So the VPN, as you can see here, is totally different now. So you can see all the statuses here, but also now you've got the different ones for the Tor and Instant Guard. So you can see here all the different options you've got. You've got the standard one before, and you've got the VPN Director. So this is what makes one of the main features that stands out for the Merlin Asus software, as well as the other little features that you can actually start to download as well. They're all there as well. So as you can see here. So this has just been a quick review of the installing the Asus Merlin software. In the next video I'll be going through in more detail the differences between all the different tabs, and then installing some of the new software that we'll go on to. If you have any questions or anything else, then please leave them in the comments and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, thanks for watching and have a great day.